Fantasy baseball on deck, everybody. This is Austin. It's going to be a really short episode today, but if you are in the championship or the semifinal, or not semifinals, but going for third place, if you are in the league for money right now, if you are still alive, there's very, very important things you should be doing today. The first game today starts at 2 p.m. The New York Yankees and the Texas Rangers play at 2 p.m. You have to make these ads today to make the most of your roster. So let's talk about that. If you look at this matchup, I am Freddie Kluber over here. I have 26 of 29 starts. Remember that this is a weird week. The week of this fantasy baseball championship ends on Wednesday. So it's Tuesday today, Wednesday tomorrow. So you want to make sure that you have the max up to your game started up until the second to last day, meaning that by the start of today, I want to have 28 fantasy baseball pitchers started by the end of today, meaning that I can load up and max out tomorrow if needed. So the situation is that I am only, I'm up by a decent amount of points. So there's really not a whole lot to fret being up around 60. But at this point, I just want to pad my lead and make sure that I walk away with money because, the whole purpose of the show is that we walk away with first place, win money, fill in the blank. So what am I going to do? I'm going to look down at this, at my league. So what have I done? I've gone over to my desktop computer. I've clicked on schedule. So schedule is going to pin me all of my players for just the next 2 days. So essentially it is October 4th. So any of my starting pitchers, and I've already begun to do this, I've released all of my starting pitchers for the most part that aren't going to play for the rest of the year. I'm going to look at my starting pitchers and figure out who is going to play and who is not going to play over the next 2 days. So my starting pitchers, Kyle Wright. The Braves are still sort of competing with the Mets for that the divisional round, so I wouldn't necessarily be super as comfortable with dropping Kyle Wright just because as they sort of they push forward with these last couple of days in the week. They end on Friday. Maybe they'll throw him in as a relief pitcher to make sure that they squeak out the Mets for that divisional lead. So I maybe won't go to be dropping Kyle Wright necessarily, but I will make sure that I am dropping Dylan Cease because Dylan Cease pitched on the 1st. He's not going to pitch by today or tomorrow. So I've determined Dylan Cease, starting pitcher. He's not going to play the rest of the season. It doesn't matter if he is the number 5 ranked pitcher in all of the league. It doesn't matter. He's not going to play the rest of the year. You're going to drop his bitch ass for a scrub starting pitcher for the most part. But if you're behind, so this is the situation. If you're behind and you are needing to catch up, looking at these range of starting pitchers for the day, you're going to want to go after someone who has a high strikeout rate, but also high volatility. So someone like a Sean Manaea is available in my league. He might not be available in your league, but someone who has been traditionally maybe bad for not bad the rest of the year, but looking for a pitcher who is high risk, high reward. So someone like Braxton Garrett has the opportunity to throw 10 strikeouts every time that he goes out on the mound. Nathan Eovaldi, I hate this man, but he has the opportunity to throw 10 strikeouts every time that he goes out on the mound. You kind of get the point. But so if we filter down to oh my gosh, I'm sorry guys, filter available. I'm going to go towards a player because I have a lead. I'm going to go after a guy that doesn't have necessarily a whole lot of volatility. He's playing a poor team, and I just know that he's going to not necessarily blow everyone away, but if you can walk away with not negative points, then it's just padding my lead and making the most of my roster for this week. So I've looked at this before. I've determined that of all of the matchups, though Pittsburgh beat St. Louis last night, it was a 3-2 matchup. Pittsburgh's, again, as everyone knows, rostering around a AAA roster. And even though Dakota Hudson had gotten sent down to AAA just recently, it was only because they traded for Jordan Montgomery. He's been a really solid pitcher. He just had his ERA just clicked to 4.01. He's been a 3 ERA guy throughout his career. Doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, but he throws a lot of innings if given the opportunity, and he has plenty of run support being on that St. Louis roster. I'd like to think that he'd get to 5 innings, and I'd like to think that he'd maybe get enough runs to even earn a bonus. So what I'm going to do is, for this last week, because Dakota Hudson, I need to get to 28 pitchers, I'm going to add Dakota Hudson. I'm going to go down, and because the White Sox are out of it, they have no reason to throw Dylan Cease into any weird situations. I'm going to drop Dylan Cease. And that it hurts me a little bit because I love Dylan Cease, as you guys know. But I'm going to make sure that to go down is my starting pitching slot, and we should be good to go. The only other thing that I would say is, again, if you guys look at my roster, go to schedule. If you guys look at my roster, every starting pitcher except for like Kyle Wright and Brandon Woodruff even could be dropped for a relief pitcher, but I kind of have a plan for him because Shohei Ohtani is the starting pitcher on Sunday. I'm going to drop Brandon Woodruff to just add a bat to add into that utility spot the next day. But just make sure that your entire roster is filled with just starting pitchers who are either going to pitch today or going to pitch tomorrow. And if there are not any good starting pitchers that you trust, if you think they're going to get negatives, then just replace them with closers. So what I've done is just within the last 24 hours, I have added essentially Alexis Diaz, Dylan Floro, Jimmy Herget, Jose Leclerc to my starting roster just as bonus guys. I look at closers as sort of not indestructible, but like more likely if they have the opportunity to get saves, they're going to get you points, not net negative points. But if that's because I'm ahead. If you are not ahead, say if you were the Bushwhackers instead of my situation, I would be saying add that one pitcher in for today to get you to that 28, just under that 29 max out, like what I showed here. Make sure that you are getting to the 28 before the start of tomorrow. And then tomorrow, if you were behind by a lot of points, if you were behind by 20, 30 points, whatever it is, you need to replace every pitcher on your roster with a starting pitcher. You have to get as many points in one day. There's basically no rules at that point. Make the most of your roster. Best of luck, guys. That's the end of my very short clip today, but I hope that it was helpful.